I love big titties.
Hey now. Don't dream it's over. What's up? How's it going? Christian, how's it hanging? Still 2 inches into the left or
How'd you know? It's good, dude. I'm sunburnt as fuck. I'm hurting. But it's a beautiful Sunday, and I got my coffee with me, and
you guys in the 90s yet? 90s over there yet?
oh yeah. It was bad yesterday. My band played an outdoor gig, and I don't know what it was. Like I don't play a whole lot of outdoor gigs where I'm not covered, I guess. But it's subconsciously I was just like, and none of my bandmates, none of us. The other band we played with, they were an all black band, and they were phenomenal. They were great, and they don't have to worry about sunburn, I don't guess. I don't think black cracks. And we played the show, and we got off, and a guy, the bass player, he kind of ran the soundboard for us after we got done because we ran the sound ourselves for the whole event. And we got done. He looked at us. He goes, "Man, y'all look like crabs." I was like, "What?" And he's like, we were like, "Oh my God, we're fucking sunburned." So yeah, all of us are just hard. My face is red, my arms, you could see where it starts. It's brutal. Just none of us thought about sunscreen. None of us. So it's just right now I'm sleeping with aloe vera all on me. I'm uncomfortable. And it hurts like shit. But the show must go on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get comfortable. It's one of those things where it's like you'll have the chills just like sitting there. I hate sunburn, dude. I will apply sunscreen like nobody's business when it gets warm out because, dude, I get cooked. Like, I don't know how it turns into tan, obviously, after it's done, but I get cooked, man. I can't. I think the worst experience I had, I was like 12. We were swimming at my buddy's uncle's lake at his house. We were out all day just swimming. I didn't even think about it. We were in the back of the pickup on the way back to their house, and I'm like, why am I stinging? And we got back to their house and we walked in and their mom was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "What?" She's like, "You guys are like lobsters." That entire dude for 2 days, man, just laying on the ground with aloe vera in front of a box fan. And from that moment forward, I was like, I'm never getting that sunburn again, ever.
Man, I tell you, you just don't. It's like you feel dumb, and everybody after was like, "Oh, you should have put on sunscreen." It's like I just didn't think about it. Give me a break. Like I'm able to drive. Like I'm smart enough to know I'm supposed to have it, but it happens. It just happens. You're out there and you don't think about it. All of a sudden, before you know it, boom, you're fucking burnt.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
And
it is what it is.
After the fact, the answer to that question is nothing. There's nothing you're going to do about it. You just have to wait for it to heal.
Yeah, you just got to suck it up.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to talk about a couple different things today. I mean, the crux of this episode is really going to be talking about Final Destination as a whole, all the movies. We've never really talked about that series in 4 years, which is wild. Also, this episode will be coming out the week of 4 years of the show. So if you guys are listening
4?
to this,
I thought it was 3. Jesus.
No, 2021. Yeah. 4.
God almighty, dude.
Yep. So
that just hit me.
Yeah. It's been a while, man. It's been a long ass time.
It doesn't even feel to me that we do basically one episode a month. I know we definitely try to do a live, although we don't always, but time flies so fast. I swear it still feels like we do one a week to me. I don't know if you're like that, but to me it feels like we do one a week like we used to, because time is getting so fast. I need you to understand something, dude. Last week it was Christmas and now it's May 18th. It's May 18th. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I know what you mean, because pretty much everything in life right now seems like it's going really, really fast. But I will say, as far as the show, no, I definitely notice. Because I'm like, man, it's been a while since we've recorded. Like, I'll think about it. I'm like, it's been a couple weeks. But yeah, no, everything is going crazy. I actually was driving home from work 2 days ago, and I had this moment of like clarity. I vividly remember it. I was sitting there, I was listening to a song, and I can't remember what song it was. It was something to do with like talking about like life and like death or whatever. And I sat there for a second and I was like, I'm almost halfway to 31. And I feel like I just turned 30. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is crazy. So, yeah. Little existential crisis. It's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, no, I get it, man.
It's almost nuts to me to think that we were doing those shows once, sometimes twice a week, People ask me about the show still sometimes, and I'll give you this credit. I always say Nick is a lot of things, but one thing he isn't is lazy, because he was old. I said, I don't recall a time, maybe once or twice, where you were like, let's do it next week, or let's blah, blah, blah. You're always ready to go. So I give you credit there, man. And it was on my channel too, which, really didn't do anything for you. So I commend you for that.
That's
but
fun.
I like that the show's on your channel now, because as weird as it sounds, I feel like I have more runway to just get more belligerent, if that makes sense. I really do.
Oh, I know you do. And you're like, yeah, he'll catch the shit for it, not me. Yeah, no, the last episode we did, I was telling you, we invaded Fachi's channel the other night. I got a comment that popped up like while we were doing it. Someone was giving shit to Christian about what he said about NASCAR.
Dude, NASCAR is redneck. I'm sorry. I'm not saying wrestling isn't, but two things can be true at once. Like, NASCAR is redneck. Like, you don't see business guys or city slickers walking down the street with a Dale Earnhardt shirt. Rest in peace, by the way. Or like you just don't see it. You only see rednecks wearing NASCAR shirts. Like, two things can be true at once. I think white trash people, I think there's a difference between white trash and redneck. Although redneck is a certain sector of what can be considered white trash. There's also high tech rednecks. There's also rednecks that have money. But white trash people are where you usually see wearing NASCAR shirts. I'm sorry. And guess what? Yeah, wrestling fans are usually virgins, weirdos, and basement dwellers. There's a huge section of them. The ones that talk about the business or the work, or they should have pushed this wrestler. They need to get, like, what do you know about any of this? You're a fan. Like, believe me, I'm with you on. I am one of those wrestling fans that seriously just watches the shows and doesn't go online and say they should have pushed her. They should have given him a better storyline. His work rate is phenomenal. You'll never hear me say ridiculous shit like that, acting like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. I'm a casual wrestling fan that grew up watching it and still enjoy seeing some of the guys I like CM Punk. But believe me, I don't claim to be a wrestling person in that sense. So I hear whoever that was, I hear you, but two things can be true at once. That's all I'm saying.
Evan the Dead meme. Shout out. He's been watching my channel for years. Shout out.
Shout out, Evan. And I guarantee you, he knows I'm right. He's going to agree with me.
Yeah, well, I think
I'll meet you halfway, CHH.
I think you smoothed it over by saying, yeah, you know what? You're right. Wrestling's probably got their own group of fans. That
it's bad. The Twitter's horrible with wrestling fans. It's insane. Yeah. So you want to hear something? You want to hear something sketchy? So there was this wrestler. Her name is Saraya, and she posted a picture of herself when she was a kid, and it was like, wrestlers, post your cringy first picture of you like as a wrestler. And one of these girls, her name is Stephanie Vakir. She is gorgeous. She's a Spanish wrestler. She loves her butt because it's nice, and she makes sure everybody sees it when she comes out to the ring. And she's got this move that she does where she takes a wrestler and puts her ass up against their face and slams them in the mat a bunch. Anyway, she's awesome. I love Stephanie. But she posted a picture of her on this thread where she says this was me at 16, and it had like 3,000 bookmarks, and I'm thinking, there's 3,000 sickos that just saw this and bookmarked and saved a picture of the 16-year-old girl. Like, you guys are creeps. You guys are a bunch of fucking creeps. You know? So yeah, the wrestling fans are something else.
There you go, Evan. So when we get into the final destination later on in this episode, Christian has made it very fair. It's very fair when it comes to wrestling and NASCAR.
Right.
But no, as far as like you were saying, 4 years and time flies and everything like that, and it does. I'd been thinking about this today and last night, and I was just wanted to take a minute just to say to everybody that has watched for 4 years, honestly, thank you. It's crazy that we could do anything, which may seem huge to us at times, and especially at the time when we started it, but so insignificant in the grand scheme of things in the world. But it really does mean a lot. And I've met a lot of really cool people and a lot of people that have found me from your channel and made a lot of really good friendships. And I don't take that stuff for granted. And you guys, as the audience, have really seen me kind of go on a wild ass journey in my life over the last couple of years. And I'm still, unfortunately not out of it. But through my highs and my lows and just kind of everything that I've experienced, the show's been there, and the people, the listeners have been there. And that's really cool to me. That's kind of that's invaluable. Like you can't put a price on that. So to all of you guys, I mean, seriously, it means a lot that you guys have stuck around. And, sometimes I really need this outlet, or I would go insane. I don't know how you are ever since you've been a content creator, but like I'll get people that, just over the years, they want to have conversation and they want to strike up conversation, ask me questions or just like be friendly. And it's like, sometimes, man, it's hard to remember sometimes that like we're people too, and like we go through shit, and sometimes we're just not feeling it, and it's not personal. It's nothing like that. So the reason I mentioned that in summation is basically just to say, like, especially the last couple months, I know that I've been kind of dejected when it comes to like social media interactions and with some of my friends and stuff like that. Like, don't take that personally. That's just, a product of the kind of shit you go through in life. And so, yeah, I don't know. I appreciate all you guys. It's been really, really cool. It's been fun. And at no point have I ever thought I want to stop doing it. I've made jokes before to Christian, like, dude, you just want to stop doing it? And like when I've been in my feels before, like, oh, I just don't know if you want to do the show anymore. And he'll have to like reel me back in and basically be like, dude, like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's not the case. So yeah, it's cool. It's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, we operate differently, me and Nick, and it's not one person's right, one person's wrong. I'm the kind of person that, like, if I don't say something with Nick for 7 or 8 days, he could hit me up and I just respond to it like we just talked. But I think Nick is a little bit, that's a fair statement to say. You're a little bit different in the sense that if I don't hit you up for a while, you get the sense like, Christian, did I do something? Is Christian in a bad mood? Do I need to not mess with him? And the reality is I'm usually just playing with the dogs, so, but I get that. And listen, we have had some funny ass moments with this show. I mean, I remember there's eras that you can go through, which are so funny looking back. One of my favorite eras was, we got to get guests. We got to get guests. We got to get guests. And we were trying to get guests on and bring people on. And we've had some funny ass times. The Timu interview, it has to be the funniest. That has to be the funniest because we were so ready. Like, this is going to be it. And then there was the headphone jack era where you're having so many problems with your computer. So like you're using the earbuds. They don't sound bad, honestly. There was the poster versus poster, movie versus movie era, which I still think those were fun. because it's a little bit different. Like there's a lot of, top 10 this, top 10 that. And like I get burnt out on that stuff real fast. Like I do those videos sometimes, but in terms of like a long form thing, to me, that stuff is tedious to get through. To me, what I love is spontaneity. And that's where I learned that you have to do stuff to get people in and talk about stuff that is important to them. But what keeps them is the random stuff that you start talking about that's completely organic and you get the human side of people. I think that's lacking today. I really do. I think that's lacking in a grander sense where people not necessarily play a character, but they have superficial chains on that they think, oh, I can't get off of Friday the 13th right now because if I start talking more about this or that, then I'm going to lose them. When in actuality, it's they start watching you for what content you may be talking about, but I think they stay because, well, what are they going to say next? What are they going to talk about next? That's
Especially
the
us.
and that's the way I operate, man. And you know, I don't intend to change, and if that doesn't make me grow as big as I'd like to, then so be it. Because I have way more fun doing things the way I want to than maybe the way we're all supposed to. I don't know. So ultimately, that's why the show's lasted 4 years, and there's people that really look forward to it, and I don't take it for granted either. I still, yeah, I appreciate everybody that watches this, both of our channels separately, anything Nick does or anything I do. Like I seriously, I mean, there's so much shit out there for people to consume. Your competition is 1,000 different things. Your competition is not just, okay, well, who else just reviewed Final Destination? Your competition is not just, oh, well, who else just reviewed this 4K that just came? No, your competition is everything. It's the radio, it's television, it's Netflix, it's Paramount Plus, it's you name it. That's your competition. Because at any given moment, people can watch whatever they absolutely want. And the sooner you realize that, and I'm just talking to anybody that does any sort of YouTube, anything, TikTok even, the sooner you realize that, the sooner you will never take every single view for granted.
And
And
that's the
that and
great.
that's
Well, like you were saying about the podcast, we kind of figured out where our spot was. Like you said, we've had eras, and I think we figured out through the years. It didn't matter if we had a guest on. It didn't matter if we were doing a ranking. It didn't matter if none of that mattered at the end of the day, because like people were coming back to the show just because of, like, for us, and like the camaraderie and the vibe, and like you said, the what the hell are they going to say? Because really did get to that point. Guys, there have been some moments throughout Uneeda history where we flirted with stirring some shit up. Like that's just kind of the way it's been. But that's because like we're both, I don't know. You're talking about authenticity. When you get in a like virtual space with somebody that you're authentic with, like sometimes you really got to bite your tongue and be like, oh shit, I almost just, like,
yeah. But eventually you keep doing it and you keep doing it, you get more comfortable, you get more comfortable. It's just like what's that meme? Go ahead, say it. Say the weird thing. Like that
yeah,
starts running through your head a
yeah,
1,000 times over. It's like, yeah, you know what? Some of you guys need to like settle the fuck down. Millie Bobby Brown is barely an adult. Please stop. Like what I'm saying? Like it's serious. Is she
yeah.
a pretty young lady? Absolutely. But some of y'all are just sick. I'm sorry. What do you want me to say? It's just like some of y'all are sick bastards.
Yeah, yeah. I've been happily in the camp for years of I can't look at Millie Bobby Brown as anything other than 11, because like that's just how I got introduced to her.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but you're right. It's just I don't know. It's been really really cool, and the show's fun, and the people love it. And I think we found our sweet spot, which is just, yes, a lot of episodes we will have a topic that we want to center the episode on. But in reality, you all know we'll spend a couple minutes on that and an hour and a half on a bunch of other shit. And that's why when we were on Fachi's channel the other day, I said, I think that's what makes us stick out. I've said it many times, like pit us against anybody, like genuinely do it, because like I'm not into the whole like formulaic robotic bullshit, like the overproduced, overmanufactured, we have to hit this point and this point and this point. I don't like to listen to that shit. So like, why would I like to do that?
because I really think. Let me adjust my headphones really quick. I really think the same way people think that they have to say, and I'm not directing this at you, so don't get mad. But I think the same way that a lot of people feel like they have to say certain phrases when talking about a movie, about whether they liked it or not. There's like 5 or 6. I need to make a T-shirt that says horror movie reviewers be like, I love the
Cinematography.
pacing. This was shot beautifully. This, like a
Love the
lot.
characters.
I think a lot of the times the people that get successful doing stuff a certain way are the channels, like, you just start watching stuff the way people do things. It's like there's kind of a blueprint. I mean, there is. And it's no hate towards anything, because believe me, there's things that I'm not great at. But one thing I think I'm pretty good at is podcasting. I've been doing it for a while. And I think what you're doing is you're trying to make the person listening feel like they're sitting with you with the conversation, and they feel like what they're hearing is truly off the cuff and real. And the problem with doing certain things the way you see a lot of pages do it, it's no shade. Some of them do things lightning years better than what we do in terms of production, video quality, everything. There's channels that literally make us look like absolute amateurs. But I think the thing that is kind of missing in a grander sense is like there's too much structure. And I would suggest, like, you have a blueprint, but let those weird moments happen. Because
Yeah.
if you ask anybody about anything, like what, like this or this on the show, nothing that they will say will truly be, do you guys remember when they said Screams 5 was good? Oh my God. I was so relieved. Like, no, nobody's going to say that. They'll say, do you remember when this happened and all it turned into this inside? Like, it's all that sort of stuff.
Do you remember
That's
when?
how I feel. So if anybody's listening that's kind of wanting to get into this or even doing this, you don't have to take I'm not saying this as advice, but just think about it. Put it in the back of your head and think about it.
Yeah. No, I know you're listening, Jaden. And I'm gonna say this to you, and piggybacking off of what Christian said. Anybody that's looking to get into this, that is kind of why I make an effort to have those kind of moments. The interrupting each other sometimes when you're talking about something that you're both passionate about, or a joke here and there, or a meme, or whatever it is. Like, I feel like that shit is so much more personal than, like you said, the structure. I don't give a shit. You can have the best mics, the best quality. You all can be in a studio, multiple different cameras, and it'll go to a different person when they're talking. That's great. Awesome production quality. Like, more power to you. But that kind of stuff seems so boring to me. Like, it's never ever interested me. It's not what I like to listen to. If you're good at it and you put the effort, that's awesome. But it's just not what I want to do. And so I don't, because it's not what I want to watch. So it's not what I do. But yeah, I mean, I think I can say confidently that everybody listens to the show probably feels like they know us pretty well. And believe it or not, you guys do. Like, you really do. We don't. I don't put on. You were talking about, like, keeping up with the rat race and focusing on what other people are doing and stuff like that. And it's like, that's one thing that I'm happy to say I don't even watch much YouTube
You
these
can't.
days.
Yeah, you can't. It'll drive you nuts.
Yeah, I don't care. And that's not to say that I don't support, my friends and stuff. I want to see them do well, but it's just like, I don't get caught up in the monotony of what everybody else is doing. I don't care.
Dude,
Yeah.
I seriously doubt, and this is the reality. Most of us that make YouTube videos are not sitting around and it's like, we respect all of our friends and we respect what everybody's doing, and we want everybody to do well because they're putting in effort, and we know that it's not easy. None of us have the time or desire to sit around and watch each other's videos. We just
No.
don't, man. Like, we don't, like, and that's part of it. I think it's almost like you hear about these directors that talk about their movies. Like, I think John Carpenter half the time says, "Oh, I haven't sat down and watched Prince of Darkness since like 1991." Like, because you do it, and then it's like you don't want to go. Maybe that's not a great example, because maybe he would want to watch a Toby Hooper film that he just put up. But my point is, you have to treat everything like, you can't expect people to focus on what you're doing at all times that you're friends with, or it's just not reality. everybody that does YouTube, they want to do it and then get the fuck off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me go through the checklist of what all my friends do. Yeah, you want them to do well, of course, but that's just reality. That is just reality.
Yeah, I mean, you're already faced with the prospect of burnout when you're spending X amount of hours every week recording, editing, and uploading. It's like, so why would I want to even be on that app longer than I've already
Yeah.
had to be?
Or
Like
at least desensitized from the stuff that's in your wheelhouse. Like there's this channel called Swoop I've been watching. This broad that does these amazing documentaries about crazy YouTubers that do stupid shit, like big YouTubers. Like I'll watch that all the time. But I'm not watching 4K reviews. I'm not watching movie reviews. If I need to want to know if I want to know what you think about the movie, I'm good. Like you usually tell me or we talk about it or if it's somebody I know, like, well, what did you think? Like, sorry, I'm not gonna watch every video you do. And
no.
guess what? You're not watching everything I do, and it's not personal. It's reality.
Yeah, I ask Christian if I have ever once texted him and been like, "Hey, dude, did you watch my latest video? What'd you think?" I've literally never done that ever, not once, because as a person that also does content, you understand, like, if the
Yeah.
tables were turned and he texted me, I'm not gonna lie to him. I'm gonna be like, no, I didn't watch your latest video on the 4K of Children of the Living Dead. Like it's like,
That's clippable because that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
but
You could have
but
picked any other movie
well,
on
because
planet Earth. That's the
I
last movie on Earth to get a 4K.
I know, but the reason I say that is because, like, if he covers something like Halloween,
Hold on, dude. If I covered Children Living Dead in 4K, you're watching that.
maybe. So yeah, that probably wasn't fair. But what I'm saying is, like, Christian, especially in his wheelhouse, he does a lot of really niche stuff like that. Some of it I don't even know. I don't know this movie, or I don't know what he's talking about. So I'm like, hey, awesome. Like, I'm glad that he's doing that because he's passionate about it. People are watching it and stuff. But like,
Right.
if he does something like Halloween, I'll watch it. Or if he reviews a movie that just came out that I also saw and I want to know his thoughts, because as much as he says we'll talk about what we think, we don't actually talk about it that much. We usually talk about it in this space, because I've never wanted to be the person to text Christian and be like, hey, man, what did you think of Final Destination? Like, I don't do that. I normally know we're going to talk about it in this space. I think the last movie that Christian and I really talked over text about when we saw it was Exorcist Believer. And I think that was because we were both really surprised that we didn't hate it. And so I think it was like, shit, I kind of don't want to take this to the internet because I feel like I'm going to get fucking roasted for it. So I want to see what Christian thinks. And then when he was, it was like one of those things, but like a lot of time we save it for here. So all that is to say, getting into what we're talking about today, Christian and I have not talked about Final Destination Bloodlines at all. I sent him like 2 texts when I got out of the theater. Very short, quick, like, didn't like this or whatever, thought this. Like, that was literally it. He didn't say anything. We haven't talked about it. So this will be the first time that we talk about it together. I'm also going to give you guys a warning. We are going to spoil the shit out of Bloodlines when we get there. I don't want to hold back from talking about it because we're never going to do another Final Destination episode until the next movie comes out. So why would we hold back from talking about it in depth? Like, there's no point. So we're not there yet, but when we get to Bloodlines, just letting you guys know, we're going to talk about it. But we're going to talk about the whole franchise today. And I want to start with the first one, obviously. Earlier today, I recorded a couple videos that I'm going to edit and drop over the next couple days. And one of them was my own franchise ranking for Final Destination, which, a couple people were like, hey, you should do this. I was like, oh, whatever. And when I was talking about each movie, specifically the first movie, I was like, I remember the third movie made me feel this way about roller coasters. Second movie, blah, 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 blah. But I think the most traumatized I was at the time, at least, I don't think I was afraid of flying, Christian, until this movie came out. Like, until this movie came out and I saw it at like 7 or 8, I was like, oh shit. And for a decade, I didn't fly on a plane until my 18th birthday. And part of the reason was I was scared. Like, I don't like the feeling of helplessness in general. When you're on a plane 30,000 feet in the air, there is nothing you can do. Like, you are at the mercy of the pilot, the weather, whatever it is. So it's just like, you have to trust that you're going to be all right. But the reason I mention that is I remember this movie. I think the thing people take away from this movie is the airplane. Like, I just think that is the thing that traumatized a generation of people. But I kind of want to ask you what your journey was like with this movie, and did it make you feel the same way about flying? Do you still feel the same way? Like, let me in on your experience with the first movie.
So I didn't watch the first movie first, to be honest with you. I probably saw it like after three. I think I saw 2 and 3 before the first one. But to be honest with you, I'm not making a joke, but I mean, I saw this movie post 9/11, so this was just icing on the cake.
Yes.
It's not my favorite Final Destination, but I don't know. I actually think this one kinda ages the best out of all of them. Like, I really do. I think when you go back and watch all of them, this one, it's just before that pop punk kind of scene hit where, like, the style is really, like, different, like, everybody's hair looks a certain way, and the movies start looking a certain way, whatever kind of technology they're using. So, Final Destination, the original, actually has, like, a really, really good vintage feel to it that almost, like, doesn't date it as much as the rest. And, I don't know, the opening of this one, it's like, you could probably sway me that the plane scene is better than the car crash in 2 if you started breaking it down, like, I probably wouldn't argue that much. But after all of that, I remember seeing, 2 I saw, like, 2 3, 2, and 1. I think I saw them in that order, to be honest with you, and then, of course, I saw the 4th one whenever that happened, and then 5, I saw just recently again since God knows when. It's been many, many years. But, yeah, I love the first movie a lot. I think this is honestly one of Devon Sawa's better films. Some stuff he's in, I think he's good. Other stuff he's in, I think he's just cheesy as hell. But, I really like Devon in this movie quite a lot, to be honest with you. And like I said, I really think this one has aged the best out of all of them. I think the first one is probably a classic at this point, and, Tony is always lovely whenever he just shows up on screen. So, yeah, yeah, I think the first one is almost as good as it gets, and in some ways, it is as good as it gets.
Yeah, so I'm not going to make the argument that the plane is better than the car crash. I won't do that, but you are right. I do know that there are people that will. But if somebody were to tell me, like, hey, that plane crash sequence scarred me, like that more than any of the other things in any of the other movies, that was the thing, I totally get that, because I would make an argument that for me for 10 years was the case. Like, that was like, no thanks, I don't want to fly. I remember we were taking off. It was my 18th birthday. We were going to visit my mom. It was the first year she had moved to Florida, and she was flying us out for Christmas. My birthday is December 22nd. So we flew out on my birthday, and I remember taking off on the runway, and I was literally thinking in my head, like, I'm going to die on my 18th birthday, dude. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, my eyes are closed, and I'm like, oh, shit. And now I don't mind flying at all. I actually kind of like it. But
I'm ready to go.
Crazy. Yeah, that might be part of it. But no, to your point about this movie aging the best, I'll make the argument, and I think confidently so, that this has the best cast of all of them.
Yeah.
I like their camaraderie. I really like their dynamic. And like you said, dude, like, I'm not even a huge Ali Larter fan. I like her in this movie as Clear. I like Devon Sawa in this movie. Who's it? Sean William Scott. I like him in this movie. Like, I really like the cast in this movie. I feel like that's how teenagers were back then. Like, how nowadays movies will put teenagers in it, and you're like, what? That doesn't really seem, and maybe that's just a generational thing. Like, now that we're older, when you're in your 30s, you're like, teenagers are really like this now. Like, maybe that is accurate, but it just doesn't feel like it. But like, this feels very lived in, very real, as much as a bunch of shit in the movie is very over the top. But yeah, this movie's great, man. This really is. It's not my favorite Final Destination movie either. I don't think it ever was, because I didn't see this movie until the second one came out. And I might have seen the second one first as well. I can't remember. But the movie's great. Who would have thought that it would have spawned a franchise, though? You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine pitching that? Like, we're going to make a franchise about Death's plan, like, and people are gonna
I mean,
die in like.
not to be contrarian, but honestly, yeah, because I think it's a fairly brilliant concept, to be honest with you. Maybe you could explain it in a shitty way, but like when you watch the movie, it's like, oh, this is like brilliant. It's like it's like the domino death effect. How do you try to stop it? How do you fix it? Like in retrospect, I'm not surprised that it became a big franchise. It's got a great name, Final Destination. It's like it's a little ambiguous, but it's
your final destination is death and life. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
But I know, but if you just hear the title, you don't know because it sounds like it could be a Tom Cruise movie. Cruise in Final Destination, buckle up. You know, like you could. It's a little ambiguous, but it's got an interesting title. So, going back to something you said about the teenagers, because they definitely seem like these adult like kids. Like I think one reason that still works for me is because I know the film came out in 2000. That when I saw the film for the first time, it was right around 2005. So I was still at that point 14, maybe 13 or 14. So I always had the idea of seniors as being like adults, especially when I was even younger, like this, because this movie came out in 2000. That when I was a kid, late teens seemed like they were 40-year-olds. So I have that stream of consciousness that goes through me when I see a movie from that era where there are teenagers. Now today, I feel like happy because sometimes they do cast teenagers that are around my age. So it's a different sort of like I'll buy that, I'll buy it.
Fucking Daniel Harris was like 32 in Rob Zombie's
I'll buy it.
Halloween.
Yeah, I'll buy it now. But it's different from movies back then. So yeah, I mean, this movie, there's a weird nebulous time of like 99, 2000 where movies have this very specific, I call it the Lit era, because like Lit was a band that in like 99, they had this massive record, A Place in the Sun with, I'm sure you know it, the record with, Can We Forget About the Things I Said? That record was gigantic. And they had this brief little window. Lit was like the biggest band on planet Earth from 99 to early 2001. Then right after that, pop punk came in and the style and look of everything changed. So this movie came out right in the crux of that. I call it the Lit era. With this 2 years of movies, 99 and 2000, that have a very specific feel that is so different from movies literally 2 years later. So that's another, because I mean, style wise and the aesthetic from 2 and 3, they're similar. But from part 1, it's so different. It's so different. And that's what it's so cool about the first Final Destination. It falls right in that tiny little era. Because if you go 2 years, 3 years prior to that, it feels so inherently 90s before that. So that's another thing about Final Destination I really like. I would love for this movie to come out on 4K. And
it's got to by now. Like after the success of Bloodlines, we're talking Bloodlines made over $100 million this weekend worldwide.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean,
really?
They already said by next week, it will be the highest grossing Final Destination movie after 1 week. Like this, it's huge. So I would imagine Warner's going to be like, all right, let's get these out on 4K. Like there's just no way they're not going to. But
I hope so.
When that happens and you review them on your channel, I will watch it to decide whether or not they're worth purchasing, because we've talked about that before, like transfers and stuff like that stuff is really cool. Improved audio quality and video quality, that is important, but like I want features.
Same.
Yeah, like give me a new making of, give me a new commentary track, give me that kind of shit. I live for that. But I was going to ask you, and I'll do this for every movie, best favorite death for you in this movie. For me, it's twofold. My favorite is Sean William Scott getting his head cut off outside the train track, which is just because it comes out of nowhere. But I think the most effective is the teacher's death, because that just happens in her kitchen, dude. Like a lot of times you would think like, oh, I'm safe. I'm at home. I'm making tea. I'm on the computer. I'm listening to records. Like, and she ends up in a horrible death situation. So
is that when the house eventually burned down?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably mine, because not necessarily the act of the death itself, but for me, it's the build up and the like almost like that boiling pot of water where it starts simmering and starts simmering, and you know it's about to boil. That's what I love about that whole sequence is it's just like that ticking time bomb. Oh god, that's a great one. There's some deaths in this movie that like really annoy the ever loving shit out of me. In the sequels like 2 and 3, but I'll
Now
get there.
you gotta tell me that one of the most annoying in this movie is the shower, because had that guy for a split second stopped freaking out, he could have regained his balance and not choked to death. Every
Yeah,
time I
yeah.
watch that scene, I'm like, dude, relax for a half a second. Like, I don't know. That also, that was one thing about it. That death, it kind of always annoyed me that death was like actually a physical manifestation in that scene where it's like the water comes out of the toilet and then when he dies, it's like, oh, all the water recedes. I'm like, okay, really? Like, that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was,
That's my
and we're
least
still talking
favorite
about the
death in the
first.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my least
if we're
favorite death.
still talking about if we're talking about the first movie, like I can kind of forgive it because I guess they were trying to tread, no pun intended, like where they're gonna go with the representation itself of death. I wish they would have actually just like kind of just had the Grim Reaper show up and in mirrors and stuff, and you vaguely see it. Not like he just shows up in the scene, so to speak, but like little hints of him here and there, because that's such an iconic face for death. You know,
No,
I
dude,
wish they would have done.
give us Ghost Dimension. You know, the Black Mass. Give us
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah. No, it's a great movie. There's like you're right. You do give a lot of leeway. You have to give a lot of leeway to the first movie in a series because they don't really know what they have yet.
right.
So like you're kind of trying to figure it out. But then you get Final Destination 2. Let me tell you something. We rented this as a family, and naturally, the only scene my mom actually wasn't quick enough to cover our eyes with the biker chick flashing because you just don't expect boobs in that
Yeah,
moment. So I remember, dude, that the opening premonition in this movie, and I'm still going to plant my flag. It's the best one in the series, and it's the best one in the series. And as I said in the video that I did earlier, every single person will find themselves in a situation like that, not in a car accident, but in a car thousands of times in their life. Like that's the most likely thing out of all of these premonitions that could happen to you. Furthermore, it was almost all practical. It is the only Final Destination opening that they did mostly practical. And you can tell because that shit is there. You can notice the few scenes of like actual like CG. You can, but like a lot of this crashing, exploding, that was real shit. And it just feels like so visceral. And as much as I said that Final Destination's plane crash really traumatized me about planes, this was a different level. I mean, it's a meme now, dude. I saw a video on Instagram the other day on Reels that had like 400,000 likes on it. And it was just someone driving behind a log truck. And it was just like, if you know, you know.
yeah.
Because like that shit just like that, it's different. It's different. I have always thought that Final Destination 2 is the best movie in the series. And I think a large reason for that is that opening it's the best. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? You like when you said this might have been the first one you saw?
Second one, I saw 3 first, and then I saw 2. Yeah, this one, I feel like this one raises the stakes quite a bit. Yeah, the car crash is brutal. It really is, and I think why it could be the fan favorite and the best one is because maybe maybe 10% of the population flies it once out of the year, but probably 95% of people in the United States are in a car once a week at least. So it's like it's much more visceral and probably feels like holy shit, this could happen. And that wreck was brutal. And if they did that practical, I believe it because it definitely looked and felt real, as fast paced as it was.
They shut down a section of a highway for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene is brutal. I noticed one thing in this movie, and it goes throughout with 3 as well. Apple must have been really trying to like get their foothold at this time in the early 2000s because like one of the kids wins the lottery in his like rat ass apartment, and he's got like this really big, nice Apple computer where shit's about to start hitting the fan, and his ex girlfriends start calling him up to try to get back with him. But it's so funny to see Apple because I think it was either you or somebody that told me now Apple doesn't let villains use their phones in movies, which is such gigantic like spoiler for everything going forward.
I didn't say that, so I'm just
Yeah.
learning that for the first time.
Yeah, I've heard that from a couple places. But yeah, I heard that Apple doesn't let bad guys use their phones. So if you ever have a mystery, especially like in a Saw film, I mean, not a Saw film, a Scream film, there you go. But I think that's also why maybe they use like no Apple phones in their movies either, or just phones that kind of look like them, but they're not. But anyway, it was funny to see Apple products at this time because they were definitely trying to like get their foothold in the computer market again. So, but there's something that pisses me off so bad about 2, and I was screaming at the TV when it happened. I believe it's that same guy. He escapes the burning apartment, falls down the stairs onto like a bed of broken glass, and he lives. The ladder goes down, freezes, and he's like, and he looks at it and doesn't move for like another 3 or 4 seconds, and then the ladder goes straight down into his eye. And I was like, you deserve it, you stupid bastard. You should have fucking moved. It pissed me off so much.
But that setup might be my favorite in the movie because like everything that's going on in that apartment, you're like, all right, he's gonna die from the garbage disposal. He's gonna die from the fire.
Oh, that's one of my worst fears, just like a garbage disposal going off at because I have a garbage disposal, and every now and again, a tiny piece of something, aluminum or something, gets in there, and when we turn on, you just hear it. You hear it rattle, and City's always like, Christian, go fix that. I get fucking wrenches, and I shine a flashlight, and I just try to grab it. Even I unplugged it, and I still go with wrenches because that's a phobia.
Yeah.
So, and they're nasty. I'm not sticking my fucking hand in that thing. Are you kidding me?
No. But yeah, that's my favorite sequence in the movie aside from the car crash because like I remember the first time I watched it. That's the thing. When Final Destination movies are good, they're really good because they ratchet up the suspense of like you as a viewer are like you first you're putting yourself in that situation and then you're like, dude, what would I even do in this moment? And to this guy's credit, he's really smart in some ways. He grabs that bar of soap and he's like, I'm getting my fucking hand out of here. Like, I'm not going to die in an explosion. But that's kind of the irony of the whole scene. And that's a larger thing about Final Destination 2 is the way he dies is so comical. Final Destination 2 added that comedy. Like the first movie was very dour. Like it was very like emo. Like it really was. And the second movie is like the deaths are still great, but like there's comedy in it too. Like, I don't know. I feel like they walked that line really, really well in the second movie. And there's the sequence of, I love when they're talking about the hooks, like, or oh my God, the fucking dentist, dude, the dentist. This is another thing about the second one where like you have the guy die from the ladder and you think it's going to be 15 other things. And then the dentist's office, you think it's going to be 15 other things. The kid gets out and the glass just squashes him. I mean,
that sequence too.
Yeah.
That movie was full of diversions like that. Yeah, now that I think about it. Yeah, 2 is really good. I think it's probably the fan favorite out of all of them.
It is, I think. Yeah. I saw not a lot. I saw one person's on Twitter the other day. They posted their ranking after Bloodlines and they had the first one at 6th. And I was like, I didn't say anything to them, but I was like, there is no way you can tell me Final Destination 4 is better than the first. There's no universe, like none.
No, I have no respect. I have zero respect for anybody that thinks 4 is good.
No, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So, what's your favorite death in the second one? And this is obviously outside of the premonition stuff because that's like a whole fucking thing. Like, for me, it's probably the kid with the glass.
Is the log truck 2 or is that 3? I'm getting them confused.
That's 2.
I mean, that shit's so iconic. I kind of got to go with that. I mean, it really is. It's like that is a psycho moment. Like it's hard to have those moments with horror. And for a log truck to become synonymous with the movie, something you would never associate with anything, you got to give them credit.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. So I'd probably have to go with the log truck, man.
Okay.
But there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones in 2.
Wait, are you specifically talking? No, I'm wrong. Guys, I'm changing it. It's not the kid with the glass. My favorite death in the movie is when the chick gets stuck and they're using the jaws of life and she's smoking and the airbag deploys. And when the airbag goes down, you see that her head went through the PVC pipe. And like, because there's, again, diversions out the ass in this movie where it's like, is it going to be an explosion? Because you see that it's leaking fuel. Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Nope. Airbag goes off and she just gets fucking impaled. And I was like, oh shit. Like that. This movie's full of that. I think when it comes to surprises, I think the second movie probably has the most, or where you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be this. Yeah, a lot of great deaths in this movie. But all right, so we get to Final Destination 3, and I kind of want you to take the floor with this one. You said this was your introduction to the series.
Yeah.
Where are you at with this movie now, and what was that? What was that like? Take me on that journey.
I saw this at one of my buddies' house that I was growing up with. It was right after Katrina, and my mom was making a concerted effort to send me down to New Orleans around the Mandeville Slidell area just to go see some of my friends that I grew up with and just spend a couple days with them in the summer. So my buddy Devin, I remember we went down to stayed at his grandma's house for a few days, and that movie had just come out like on DVD, I think, or maybe it had been out for a little bit. It doesn't matter. But I remember we had it, and I just watched it just as a movie. Like I wasn't thinking, oh, this is a Final Destination film. This was a sequel. I just watched it, and I fucking loved it. I remember being traumatized by the sauna scene, just brutal. Like I felt it. Oh God. Especially now that I got sunburn, I feel like I can just close my eyes and I can feel like I'm cooking in them damn things. It's a little outlandish looking at the situation. It's like completely circumstantial in like a pretty outrageous way, but it's entertaining. I'll tell you that. And I mean, it's funny that the girls were overly tanned out already, and like I think they're trying to play in like to a stereotype. I don't remember if Paris Hilton or Anna Nicole Smith was big at that time, but I think like that sort of like tanned out look was getting popular with the super platinum blonde hair. So it felt very dated in one sense, but not in a bad way. It reminds me of a just as wacky time. But man, I like 3 a lot. I don't know what it is. Like sometimes I can't explain it why I like a character or not in a movie, or if I just like it if it sticks with me. But I always liked that girl that led this movie. She was just kind of like
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
yeah, I liked her a lot. She was chill. Again, we got Mac computers in this one. Big, fat, gigantic Mac big computers in this one when they had those gigantic brick, hard drive computers where she's shoving the USB in there in the beginning. I love the roller coaster too, man, because another thing was growing up, we had Jazzland in New Orleans. So like I was going to Jazzland all the time as a kid from like it opened in 2000 and I went right up until Katrina, and I was living at that thing. We would go once a week, and especially in the summer, sometimes twice a week. Sometimes we go back to back, one day, go back the next. And there was a roller coaster called the Zephyr, and we used to ride that sucker all the time. And I kept just like playing in my. It's weird. I'd watch the movie, then I would play in my head those Zephyr crashing like that, and it would just keep me up all the time. So I was ironically, because I know you used to think coasters were beast, but
I still think coasters are beast, Christian.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, if you look at the openings, I'm not saying it's the best one, but I mean, the roller coaster is definitely one that I think, gets the blood pumping, and it's extremely fun to watch in the movie.
Ooh.
So
I just had deja vu. I feel like I swear to God, like that exact moment that just happened, I was like, what the fuck? That's weird. Okay, well, you ever have that where you just have like a really strong moment of deja vu where it like kind of fucks you up and you're like, is this real life?
oh yeah, I mean, I get deja vu a lot, which makes me think that I either have been reincarnated or I literally have a second life that happens when I'm asleep in my dreams that's continuous, and sometimes I have the same type of moments.
That's crazy. Well, we won't go down that rabbit hole, guys. Really quick, I want to share my screen with you guys because I want to show you something, Christian. This is about Final Destination 3. So, share entire screen. Yup. All right. So you're talking about the Zephyr. and you're talking about how you would picture that thing crashing in the
Right.
style of Final Destination 3. I want to show you the ride that was the first roller coaster that I rode that went upside down. I was 13 years old. It's called the Vortex. If this doesn't look like the roller coaster from Final Destination 3, then I don't know what does, because it is the exact same style of coaster. Now, as Christian said, coasters are a beast 09. Trust me, guys, I would know. I know that coasters are a beast, so I know a lot about roller coasters, but exact same style of track, same exact car. As you can see, I'll pull this one up right here. Same exact car, same exact restraints. This is the exact type of roller coaster that was in Final Destination 3. Final Destination 3 came out in 2006. I was 12 years old. The first time I rode the Vortex was 2007. I was 13 years old after I had seen Final Destination 3.
Oh, man.
I went to, at the time it was called Fear Fest at Kings Island, when it was Paramount's Kings Island. And I went with like 5 girls, and I had a crush on this girl named Lexi. And they were all like, let's go ride the Vortex. And I was like, I am not about to look like a bitch. So I was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. I'd never ridden a roller coaster that went upside down. When I tell you I was shitting bricks in the line for this thing, I was shitting bricks, because I was like, this is Final Destination. You paint the track red, this is Final Destination 3 right here. And but I sucked it up and I went on it, and I remember just going down the hill and being like, holy shit, this is awesome. And it like changed everything for me, because I made my YouTube channel like 2 years later. Go figure why I made the name Coasters Are Beast 09, because I was obsessed with roller coasters at that point. But that was a long-winded way, and I wanted to just show you guys, like, Final Destination 3's opening definitely traumatized me. My brother is 28 years old, still will not ride a roller coaster because of Final Destination 3. Still, to this day. My 5-year-old child will. He won't. It has had that profound an impact on people. And so I thought the opening was genius. I really do. But I feel like as years have gone on, I've fallen somewhat out of love with this movie. Now, I will say the 4th one is the only one that I say I don't like. I still really like 3. But I feel like, is it just me, or like maybe it's because it was when you put it right after the second one, which was like practical and very real and visceral. The 3rd one feels really green screen, like the premonition. It feels really fake. Like, I don't know. Am I nitpicking here?
I don't know. I'd have to be honest with you. It's now been. I watched this movie thinking the movie was coming out like maybe 3 weeks before I did, so I'd really have to go back again to rewatch it to see if I catch what you're really saying. But it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Considering if you said that most of 2 was all done in camera, I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably has this um, sense of not feeling as visceral or real or green screeny. I'm sure it does. What are you gonna do though?
Yeah, well,
I
exactly.
like the style of 3 a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it may be nostalgia too, why I love it so much. But it still is my favorite. I remember when I watched it, I just loved it, man. I really did.
So 3 is your favorite?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the first one I saw. It has some of the most outlandish character. I feel like it really played into the humor a
What's your
lot.
favorite? Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite's absolutely the tanning bed. I just think even though it's outlandish in a sense, the way that plank fell and boom and caught right in between the levers to open them. I mean, they cooked in there, and it was brutal. It was brutal what happened to them, and I just feel it every time I watch it. You know,
I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, I was thinking to myself, and I want to ask you, like, if you were in this same situation, which, spoiler alert, Christian and I are never going to be in tanning beds. Like, I'm never going to do a tanning bed. But like, if I was in that situation, I remember going like, it's just a plank of wood. Like, if you push hard enough, you can break that thing in half. And then I was like, to their credit, they try, but as soon as they touch it,
they're
like,
burning.
yeah, they're burning. So then I'm like thinking to myself, in that situation, what do you do? I feel like my fight or flight would be, I don't give a shit if I'm burning my hands and my feet. I am pushing this fucking thing to break it. Like, or do you think you would just like accept it and be like, well, time to cook, I guess?
No, dude, I would have got the fuck out of there. I'm telling you, I would have got the fuck out of there. You know,
Yeah, but
but they didn't do it.
In Final Destination, you would have gotten out of there after all of that, and then you would have like slipped on the fucking condensation from the drink and like died. Like
Yeah,
it would have been
probably
something
so.
like that.
Or those things would have gotten so hot they literally would have blown up in the room. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, don't they? Because they catch on fire. Yeah.
they burn.
Yeah.
I know
They
for a
catch on
fact
fire.
they literally started burning.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
scene it's funny, man. Like that scene literally just stuck with me ever since seeing it for the first time. I was always just like, God damn, that is fucking brutal.
Yeah. I don't
You
think
know?
anybody could take away. I think that's easily the most impressive death sequence in this movie. Like, even if it is outlandish, I don't really care. But all right, Christian. Now we're here at Shit Salad, The Final Destination. I didn't see this movie in theaters. If you remember, this came out the same weekend as
No.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, only posers saw this in theaters.
Yeah. And I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I have a vendetta against this movie because it made more in its opening weekend than Halloween 2.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, pissed me off. Still pisses me off to this day. It never deserved it. The movie's dog shit. I remember watching it. I can't even remember when I watched it for the first time. And I'll admit, like, I had some bias going into it because I was pissed off that it beat Halloween 2 at the box office. But I think I can confidently say that did not play into my overall opinion on this movie. I think this movie's dog shit. I think that the opening sequence is something that maybe 1% of the world's population will ever find them in a situation where they're at a place like that. One. Two, I think the setup for it is totally ridiculous. The shit that happens is just like, oh yeah, we just got tires flying outside of the stadium. Like we just got entire sections of concrete seating just collapsing, explosions galore. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I know
Mhm.
why they did it. 3D. Oh, let's do it 3D. But I think this movie announces from the opening, oh, we're dumb. We're stupid as shit. And it's like, okay, you can say what you want about the first 3 Final Destination movies. There is comedy in all of them. There is some outlandish stuff in all of them. But I feel like they never leaned too heavily into it where it didn't seem like it couldn't happen. You know, like this movie, I feel like almost everything in it is like, this would never happen. The dude getting his inside sucked out from a pool from the butthole. Like, I mean, just so much about this movie, dude. I think this movie is genuine dog shit. Like when I say the other 5 are good to varying levels of good to great, 4 isn't even okay. I fucking hate this movie. And the only reason I own this movie is because Rudy thought it would be funny to send me the Blu-ray because I made a comment about how I would never buy it. And he fucking sent it to me. And in fairness, I watched it. Yeah, that's the fucking one I have too. And I watched it again last month. I watched all the movies leading up to this one. And I reminded myself of why I didn't own this thing. It fucking sucks, man. But what are your thoughts? I'm assuming you didn't see it in theaters because of Halloween too.
No, I didn't see it in theaters. I will give there's one thing I love about The Final Destination. I think it has the best poster. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
shoot. Like I'm dead ass serious about that. I love the
Yep.
poster. Hate the name. Um they should have called it Fornal Destination like everything else. Like the Scream movies have the number inside the name.
Yeah.
No, seriously. My some of the kills they're I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound like a major insult to this person, but it's really not. This almost feels like if Adam Green made a Final Destination film, like with just like almost the movie almost felt like it was what's the word I'm looking for? Not caricatures, but almost like it almost felt like a parody of horror comedies where the characters were overtly not even dumb is the word I'm looking for, but just like blissfully ignorant to any of their surroundings, like overtly ignorant. And it's just not I don't think it's right. I think you genuinely have to ride a very fine line with these movies because I understand humor has to be a part of it. I do. I mean, I would argue everyone really has it. If you try to present this as in a serious case, a movie would almost kind of seem mean, right? But this one just felt it almost felt like you went to like a cheaper production company. The movie feels smaller in scope, even if the locations necessarily aren't. Everything about it just feels smaller and less uh grand. And the acting and stuff, it's like what was really bad to me was the guy that lost the girlfriend at the NASCAR event, and he was the tow truck guy. It's just he didn't even take me out of the movie, so to speak, because Bubba Gump, the black guy that's in the movie, which I didn't real City was like, "That's Bubba Gump." I said, "No, it's not. That's not him." She goes, "That's him." So she actually looked him up. It's like, I like that guy a lot. I think he's a good actor. I mean, he's in one of the biggest movies of all time, Forrest Gump. The dude can act.
Mhm.
But, like, I felt like he was trying to be earnest in the movie, and, oh god, it just didn't work. Like, the funeral scenes in this movie was even kinda cringy to me. Just none of it felt I didn't buy it. I just didn't buy any of it, and, yeah, I think it actually lessened the 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 sequences of, like, the death sequences, so to speak, because you just don't care. You're kinda just taken out by this whole movie. It felt like they were just this is the first time I felt like, "Well, we gotta make another one."
Mhm.
I gotta make another one. They're all making money, so let's just make another one. I think that's the biggest problem with this movie is I just don't care. They
Isn't
make
it
it feel like they don't care, so I don't care, and none of it feels worthy of, a Final Destination film. So I was joking earlier when I said I have no respect for people. Of course I'm joking. If anybody takes me seriously, that's kind of on you. But my point is, yeah, I'd give this movie 1.5 stars out of 5. I really would. I just don't like it whatsoever.
you think you'll ever find yourself watching it again? Because I don't think I ever will.
It's funny because I think when I first watched it, I was in a different headspace at the time, and I was like, it's bad, but you know what? It's kind of whatever. I'm sure I've even said that before, but honestly, revisiting it this time, especially after going through the films, it feels extremely direct to video.
Yeah.
And
Which is crazy because at the time it had the biggest budget of
yeah,
all of them.
that's really weird to me. And certain stuff, I think it's okay to have a direct to video feel, not Final Destination. This needs to feel like grand box office movies to me. So yeah, I'm not buying Final Destination anymore. It's a 1.5 star film as far as I'm concerned.
You're more
You know?
gracious than I. I mean, I really would. I'd give this like a half a star. Like I really would. And okay, maybe it loses a half a star for me because of the Halloween 2 thing. Like I'll be totally honest. Maybe it is a 1 star. Um, if I can say one thing about this movie that hate, I didn't hate the ending sequence, the movie theater explosion and the escalator and stuff. I didn't hate that. I'll say that. I think that's the best part of this movie. Um, Unfortunately, I think everything else, yeah, like you said, it largely sucks. I think the only thing that was like semi interesting to me was the car wash. Um, I thought that was actually kind of a cool setup. Because I mean, you got to be honest. Like I've worried about that before, going through car washes, being like, dude, what if my car got stuck? Like, what if this shit went haywire? So I actually thought that wasn't a bad setup. Hated the resolution of it. Didn't love the execution of it. The concept though was good. But yeah, man, it's just like you said, it is genuinely wild. You can watch all 6 of these movies, and one of them feels out of place. And it's this one. And up to this point, it had the most money behind it. It had the biggest marketing push behind it. They were hoping to be the biggest Final Destination movie, and it's the one that doesn't feel or look like a Final Destination movie. And that's just kind of where I land with it. Hate this movie, dog shit. But 2 years later, we got 5. We got Final Destination 5. And I don't know how you were, but I remember when they announced it and they were calling it Final Destination 5, I was like, the last one was called The Final Destination. Why are you bringing the numbers back into it? Like, this just doesn't, this seems weird. I didn't see this one in theaters because I hated 4. I saw this on TV a year or so after. And I remember thinking, this is a vast improvement over 4. But I think the thing about this movie that really hooked everybody was the tie-in to the original and how you found out that this was like a prequel. Did you see this one in theaters or did you not see it till years later?
No, I didn't see it till years later. I don't think in 2011 I was. It's funny, man. Like that was not a year I went to the movie theater a lot. To be honest with you, I had a lot going on that year, and not a lot of it involved my love for movies. So no, I didn't see this one. I didn't see this one. Shit, dude. I don't think it was till probably like 2018 where I finally was like, oh yeah, there was another one. So, and then after that, I never watched it again until recently, a couple weeks ago. You want me to
What do you
just
think
go
about the
ahead or?
bridge? Yeah, what do you think about the bridge collapse? What do you think about this movie as a whole?
Um, I think it's good. I think it was a step in the right direction again. I think it kind of went back to the formula of how things were in a sense, but trying to add some new elements. Um, I don't think it's a standout film by any stretch, but it kind of righted the wrongs I felt production wise and scope wise before. And I completely forgot about the tie-in. So when I rewatched it this last time, when they go back to the plane in the beginning, I was like, oh shit. So I love the ending. I actually like the tie-in, and I think it made the film kind of justified its own worth. But I don't remember. I think there were definitely some good kills in there, but like I don't know if there was any standout things in this that overshadowed any of the previous films, with the exception of 4. Because I mean, the first 3 had some of the best of all time. But I remember watching 5 and thinking it was good. It was a good entry, and it was a good way to get back on track. And I think after seeing it, it made people say, okay, yeah, maybe there's more gas left in the tank. This was pretty good. So that you'd have to remind me of the sequences in this. But overall, I would give this movie about a 3 or 3.5 stars. I thought it was a big improvement over 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. For me, it was more so that I didn't remember much of this movie until I went back and rewatched it, like a month ago. It's a market improvement over 4 for sure. I think I have this right in the middle. I think I have this at 3 in the franchise. Look, I'm not a huge fan of the bridge collapse. I'll be totally honest. 4 was when the series really started to go off the deep end with the CGI in the opening, and
Yeah.
we'll get into that in 6 as well because it's an issue I had with 6. I hate the overuse of CGI in this bridge collapse. I also don't feel like it is big as it should be. It seems very small scale for something that would be so massive. But it was definitely a better opening than 4. And the things I really appreciate about 5 more than anything is I love the inclusion of you take a life and you get their years. Like, I really thought that was a nice new thing to introduce into this.
Yeah.
I liked having Tony Todd back because we hadn't seen him on screen in the series since 2. And I really liked the tie-in to the first one. Like, I actually really liked that. Kind of felt like full circle. Obviously, very clearly they were cutting footage together from the first movie with this movie, but still. But everything else is just fine in this movie. Like, I don't think there's really much about it that stands out. I don't think there's really all that many impressive death sequences, to be honest with you. If I had to pick a favorite, shit, man, I don't know. Maybe the acupuncture dude, the guy, the creepy pervert dude that dies in the acupuncture masseuse parlor or whatever. But I think the movie's pretty good, and I think it looks better in comparison to 4 because 4 was so bad.
It just feels like a sci-fi channel movie almost. 4. It's just
Yeah.
it's kind of impressive, to be honest with you, how they managed to do that. It just doesn't make any, like, I don't feel like that would happen today. Like making a film feel so less than.
No, and I'll tell you what, if Final Destination ever came back with a movie like 4, what are we doing? Because, like, no, yeah, Five is definitely a step up. I don't think it's on the level of the first or the second one, in my opinion. And a lot of people would say it's not on the level of the third one. And I would go back and forth with that. Maybe one day I'd agree, maybe one day I won't. But I think 5 was, like you said, it was a moment to realize, like, okay, maybe there is a little gas left in the tank here. Like, maybe we're not totally tapped out. But that brings us to Bloodlines, man. As I said, this one is making a shitload of money. It's like 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I saw a lot of people saying, like, oh, that's because of all the money. And I made a tweet about it, and I was like, no, it's a generational thing. You know, look at your reviewers today. Our buddy Lee, he is a certified critic on Rotten Tomatoes. He's one of the people that reviewed this movie, whereas 20 years ago when Final Destination was coming out, people like Roger Ebert were the ones reviewing these movies. So I don't think it has to do with money. I think it's a generational thing. The critics are different these days. But it's making a shitload of money. It's making everybody happy. I don't think I've seen one person say that they hated the movie. I think the worst thing I've seen is, yeah, it's fine. I gave it 3.5. I had my gripes about it, but I want to hear first, like, what it was like for you.
I had a good time, definitely. It's funny, like, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think this was something intentional, but like, if you briefly describe this movie and you say, there's something trying to kill this family. The grandma's a nut. The daughter's the only one that believes in her. Everybody else hates her. It sounds like Halloween 2018.
Dude, when they pulled up to her house and it was a fortress, I was like, Halloween 2018.
Yep. So, but other than that, I felt like this one didn't take any unnecessary risks. And honestly, I think it's for the best. I don't think this was a time to take big risks. I think if they do another one, I think people would be more inclined to see something a little bit different or add stuff. But this one was it did a lot of stuff that people like, which was the diversions. You think they're going to die this way, and then as soon as you take that deep breath to relax, boom, then something happens. So I thought they did a lot of, and it's been a while. There's been enough distance since that, so I think people kind of erase their slate of what to expect, what to think. And the characters in this one, I actually thought that there were some good ones, like memorable ones, like the tattoo kid.
Eric,
And the humor was there. And I think they were smart enough to know not to try to get too sentimental about stuff, because people just wouldn't have bought it. Like, they kind of make the daughter be the one that's kind of like nobody believes in her. She's on an island emotionally with how she feels and everything. And they make the audience know that, like, she's definitely, got to be the fighter, but she's struggling mentally with all this. But they don't dwell on it too much to where they almost like over dramatize that. They wrote a fine line to where you get the point, but at the same time, like, let's make sure the audience is having a good time. So I thought they struck a good balance with that. I had a good time with it. I don't think it's as good as the first 3, but at the same time, I don't think it needs to be better than the first 3. Those films have 20 plus years now to kind of grow in terms of their audience and how people feel about them. So I think that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I had a good time with it, man. I think it's probably better than 5 in some ways. So I'd probably take it over 5 and 4. So I mean, that's a pretty good batting average with the return of these films. Is we have a low point. As long as we don't hit that low point again, I think we're doing good. So I think we're on an upward trajectory as far as I'm concerned.
What'd you think of the opening? Because I was talking to Lee and Davey about it, and Davey and I were like in lockstep with, like, we thought the exact same thing. Lee was the outlier. He loved the opening. I got to be honest with you, man. I felt like it dragged on. Again, it was another situation like the fourth one where I was like, who's going to find themselves in this situation? And then furthermore, it kind of pissed me off because it didn't even happen. This was a deviation of the formula that I don't know if they needed to take. And that was like one of my critiques of this movie was there was a couple deviations from the formula that I don't know if they should have done. And one of those was that the actual event didn't happen. Because, I don't know, Like that just didn't really sit well with me. It made sense for the story, I guess. Well, they escaped. So now death is going to come for them because they escaped his grand plan. I guess I get that narratively, but I don't know if I agree with that. Where are you at?
I don't mind it so much because I think the audience still got the same effect either way. They got to experience the grand terror of all that shit going down and that building collapsing and people falling to their death. So, I mean, the audience still got to visually see and feel and experience it. So, I guess for me, if I'm guessing how the average viewer felt, I don't think it bothered them that much. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me because I still
So
got the same effect either way.
I'm the wet blanket then, and that's fine.
No, that's your perspective. I mean, you probably. I think you think about movies in a deeper way than I do, and that's just natural the way you think. I'm pretty surface level, probably to a fault. I mean, I got to see all that shit happen on screen, so
yeah. But
it made
did you have a
sense.
problem with all the
No, I didn't.
CGI in it?
Well, I didn't. I didn't. I did because I said in my video, it's 2025, so I feel like the CGI should not look this CGI. But at the same time, nothing about this movie felt 2025. It seriously felt like it could have come out in 2007 or 8.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's like I can forgive it, and I also need to criticize it at the same time. I think two things can be true at once because the movie clearly feels like a 2000s horror film. But at the same time, this is 2025. But it's weird, right? Because maybe somebody in the film were like, well, we didn't want the CGI because of how graphic some of the stuff is. We kind of wanted to cartoonize a little bit of the CGI and make it a little over the top. That could have been a style choice. I mean, if they wanted the stuff to look super realistic, they absolutely can. I'd like to believe that they probably wanted to cartoon it up a little bit in terms like the girl's head getting squished in the dump truck, and like it looks funny. You didn't really get the sense of pain seeing it. It very well could have been a conscious decision. So that's probably why part of me is like, okay, but who knows? I mean, that's where my head goes at the end of the day, which is probably why I criticized it, but then I kind of said, well, and then I gave the reasons like I just stated. So with a little bit of clarity from the people that make it, I think I could get a better understanding of it. But, that's kind of where I sit on all that.
I think that's fair. I definitely think they were trying to make it feel like the golden era of this series, at least I would say, which was not the 2010s. That was not the golden era. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to like about this movie, but like you said, I think that this movie did what it needed to do. It wasn't like Halloween 2018 with a ton of like just hitting you over the face with homages and callbacks. There was enough to where like the very end, the log trucks. I actually loved that. And I saw some people being like, well, it wasn't a log truck, it was off the train, but like I saw some people being like, oh, that was fucking stupid. Like that was way too on the nose. Dude, I loved that. Like I was like, hell yeah. In the movie with the logs, that's great. And also, I don't know. I mean, it definitely did feel like those earlier movies, which is probably why I have it ranked above a couple. Like you said, it's like right in the middle for me. Like it definitely feels enough like those earlier movies. But I have to say, as much as I had minor gripes here and there with the movie, I overall liked it, and it has one of my favorite death sequences in the series, the MRI scene. That shit was awesome.
Yeah, it was a funny sequence, and it was also tense at the same time. That was a great sequence for sure. I think I kind of like the dump truck sequence a lot for some reason. I just thought it was so funny, because the guy kept you kept thinking he was gonna die. He's kissing the truck, and then even though I saw it coming, I just thought it was fun. I really did. I thought it was funny where the girl gets hit with like a football or something. She falls into the trash. I really like that one. But at the same time, going back to the beginning, I thought it was a fun opener. Like it was so gigantic in scope that I almost felt like that whole sequence was an apology for 4. To be honest with you, I really did. I was like, we're gonna make sure that we rock the house on the opening. But oh, the MRI scene was great too.
I love the fact that it revealed all of his piercings too. First you had the nipples, then you had a dick piercing.
The Prince Albert. Oh yeah, that was funny shit, man.
Yeah.
And wasn't there like a joke where like the brother didn't die because the mama had a affair, and that's like, is that, you know what they
Yeah,
said?
so, yeah, she had an affair, and the best joke of the movie is when they're walking off screen, he says, "Is that why he always wanted to play catch with me?" Dude, I laughed out loud, my whole theater laughed out loud. That was perfect. He was my
Yeah, that
favorite
was good
character.
shit.
Eric was my
It,
favorite character.
yeah, it was a fun character. I like the tattoo parlor was good stuff too. And that one was a little outlandish. Who the hell hangs chains like that near a ceiling fan? But again, it was eye candy, all that stuff. So, and then the stuff with Tony Todd, it was kind of chilling in retrospect because Tony was essentially telling the world goodbye in that movie.
Yep.
Like he really was. He was basically
He
telling the
had
world goodbye.
cancer. He had cancer in the movie, and they worked that, or in real life, and they worked that into the movie. And I had the same thing. I had the same thought. I was sitting there watching it, and it didn't feel like William Bloodworth giving a speech.
Like
It felt
Tony,
like Tony Todd
God,
giving a
dude, it's
speech.
sad. It
Yeah,
was
and
really sad.
what do you say? Like,
Enjoy every moment
life is
of every day.
precious. Yeah, yep, because you never know when. And then he says good luck and walks away, and they hold the camera on him because obviously the filmmakers knew, like, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
you could
going to be the
look at him and
last.
tell. Yeah, just look.
Yeah,
He was almost lifeless. His body was so sucked in, and he had nothing left. God, dude, it was that movie is essentially his cinematic casket. As morbid as that is to say, I mean, it's always going to be a certain film that, you know, I think a lot of us are going to have that in our collection when it comes out
but
because
isn't that crazy? Like, it's crazy. I think of the same way with Halloween 6 in the theatrical cut when that Paul Rudd says, like, tells him to come with him, and
oh,
Donald
I thought the
says, like,
same thing. It's Donald saying goodbye to the world. I have a few
yeah,
things to attend to.
yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like I prefer it as morbid as it is. It's like these people almost got a chance to say goodbye, like in a weird way,
Yep.
whereas some people don't. But yeah, dude, that whole scene with Tony Todd was great. I mean, it was great. There was, I'm in the Midwest, so white people in the Midwest clap. Some people in my theater clapped at the end of that scene, and and it was just one of those moments where it was like, yeah, that was definitely powerful. I mean, I feel like even if you hate this movie, which again, I haven't seen anybody that hated it, that moment was great. Yeah, no, it's.
I
I
hope
think
the residual. I hope he gets some good residuals if he has anything, and his family will get from this to help with any sort of, funeral costs or anything. I'm sure Tony probably set his family up pretty well with all that, but I'm glad it's doing really well for that case. That way, his family can get, can reap the rewards of Tony being in that film.
yeah, no, it was. It's a good movie, guys. It is. If you haven't seen Bloodlines yet, you should go check it out. It is a good movie. If you're a fan of Final Destination, you'll like it.
Was was he in every single one?
No, he was not in 4 at all, and he was only a voice in 3. He was the voice outside the roller coaster.
Right.
But yeah, he was on screen physically in 1, 2, 5, and 6.
There you have it.
And what do you think about the answers they gave for his character? Because they kept teasing that they were going to explain how he
Explain
was.
his character.
Yeah,
I think they did about as good as you could possibly do. They humanized him, because to me, I always thought he was the Grim Reaper.
yeah.
So
Everybody thought that he was either a physical manifestation of that.
yeah,
He was an omen himself. Like, but I got to agree. I don't think that you could have really sold that to mass audiences. Like maybe hardcore fans, but mass audiences would have been like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I thought they did about as good a job as they could. I wasn't really looking for it in the movie when they had that little black kid in the beginning. I was like, go save him. I'm yelling at the girl on the screen, go get him, But it didn't really hit me until later. I was like, oh, that's supposed to be Tony. Yeah, I think they did about as good as they could do. I bought it. I bought it. It makes sense. That's why he's always there giving little hints like, get ready.
Because I love the way they explained it too, where it was like eventually like he was involved so much because it was like, well, once death gets through with all you motherfuckers, I'm last. Like so almost you got to think like maybe his character was like, God, I hope some of you guys don't die because like I'm not trying to fucking die. But I did love too that it was for two characters. It was the grandma and him. Now the grandma ended up going outside and dying,
That
but
was
like,
a great death. I gotta be
it,
honest, I've felt
yeah,
that one. Was that a Weatherman?
yes, yes. I thought of you. I was like, oh man, Jeepers Creepers. Like,
That was the
yes,
creeper that did that.
yeah.
The creeper threw that
Nah,
Weatherman.
it's fucking
The creeper looked
Timo.
like he lived out there, for God's sakes. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But yeah, no, I did. I really liked how it was like I've avoided death this whole time, but now I got fucking cancer. Like the bastard found me in another way, and I just thought that was. I don't know. I liked it too. I liked the explanation. It's going to be weird not having him in Final Destination moving forward because it's crazy. He's never been a huge part of any of the stories, but it's almost like you associate him with that. So knowing that there's going to be another one, and there will be another one after how well this movie's doing, it's weird to know that he will not be there. There will be no mention, nothing.
Man, it's just like, I hate to say it, I would trade so many other people for Tony, you
Timo.
know? Wait, what? You trade the director? No, dude,
Timo.
I don't, he's all right.
Okay. Victor Salva.
It's like I don't like talking race in any way, but dude, it's like there's not a whole lot of black horror icons. Like it's tough, it's not there's not even a lot of horror icons. Like a lot of them are just dying regardless. But like Tony was like, even forget color. Tony was about as big as you could get. Dude, I went to Texas Frightmare in I want to say it was 15. Dude, I saw him. And the thing about Tony that was impressive was, dude, when he had to like get up and go to like the bathroom, like a lot of people had handlers and they had bodyguards because like some of those, you never know. This place is packed, thousands of people there. Tony wasn't scared of nobody or nothing. And when he stood up, he's just towered over people. He got right. I watched him. He walked right past me. He got right up, just walked out of the venue through a sea of everybody cleared. Everybody got out of his way when he walked. Everybody respected him so much. He's an icon, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's such a good, and I really hope he was able to do something for this new. So I don't know if you heard, but Tom Savini actually said that Sony is letting him put out Night of the Living Dead uncut. They
Oh,
went back and
wow.
let Tom go back and re-edit the film more the way he wanted to do it. And like he said, now the movie's about 60% of what his original vision was. And I don't know when that's coming out, but Tom Savini said it's coming out this year. But he was saying like, yeah, it's going to be great. It's coming out this year. And God, Tony's so good in that movie, man. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
people talk about Night of the Living Dead, like they always say like Tony was the perfect guy for that.
He's the person I think of when I think of that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
It just sucks. Like it really does. It's hitting me more now than it did when it happened. It just sucks, dude. He wasn't really that old, but that's the thing, dude. Like it's weird. It's like I wish that some of these guys wouldn't suffer in silence, but at the same time, I totally get it. Like if you have cancer, you don't want to broadcast it because it almost makes it more real too. Like I bet you Tony fought like a son of a bitch, right? I bet you he probably did all the chemo. He did the radio. He probably fought like hell.
And I don't think he wanted sympathy either. That
Yeah,
was
because you
another.
don't want people to act like they love you all of a sudden. Not that
Yeah.
I'm sure Tony had a great sense that he was loved by millions of movie fans, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's just one of those things. It's just like, you know, because it came out of nowhere for us when he died. He
No, yeah,
wasn't.
nobody knew he was sick. Like, no, you didn't hear that when it was announced. I remember the general sentiment was like, holy shit. Like, is that why he didn't do any, like, he hasn't done cons over the last few months? Because he was doing them up until, correct me if I'm wrong, 23, 24. Like, he was still going to
Maybe
cons.
so. I don't remember when the last one he did. I know that he didn't go to Texas Frightmare 23, 24, but that's just one. He might have done some that weren't far travel for him, but then again, I don't know.
But I respect that about the guy is that, and I respect it as much as, like you said, like it sucks. I don't want them to feel like they have to suffer in silence, but I feel like a lot of the time they choose that. They
Yeah.
don't want everyone to be like, oh, praying for you. Here's my thoughts. They don't want the sympathy. They don't want to be the center of attention. It's a personal battle that they're like, and I'm sure they believe like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to win. Like, And it sucks that he didn't, man. It really does
Yeah.
because
I think part of me really thinks that it makes it too real when you publicly just get up and say, "Hey, world, I have this." I probably wouldn't do it either.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. It would, and you would be reminded every day. People reaching out to you and stuff, and it's like, who wants to be reminded of what they're already living with every day? You know what I mean?
Here's what I'll say about this whole thing too is I really hope they don't ever, 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 ever
He's
make
gonna say
another
it.
Candyman.
And I was just about to say, Christian, it was about a month ago that it had been reported that Universal was giving a green light to a sequel to Candyman 2021.
Because the way that movie ended with Tony too was just perfect.
Yeah, you want my opinion? I don't think it'll end up happening. I think that it's easy to say that, and then when Tony dies, I think it makes you kind of reconfigure a little bit and go like, do we do this? Especially so soon after. I'm not saying Candyman will be dead forever. I don't think it will be, but I don't think it's something you do right now. Now I got to be honest. I liked the guy in the new one, Yaha Abdul Mateen. Like I really liked him as the baby from the first one. And I thought that making him almost the next generation's Candyman, I thought it worked narratively too. Like I really liked that.
Was that the same guy that actually comes through the wall in the beginning to feed the kid the candy?
No, that was the generation's Candyman before.
That
Daniel
was the
Robitaille.
scariest motherfucker in
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
Because that scene, he came out of the goddamn wall.
Yeah. They
Dude, I
actualized
gotta rewatch that one
generational.
again.
It's really good. They actualized generational trauma. Like they took it as like, yeah, Daniel Robitaille was the Candyman that you remember from the 90s, but there was a Candyman before him. There will be a Candyman after him because Candyman is a legend in and of itself. It's a manifestation of generational trauma.
Yeah.
And I dug that. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was bummed that Tony only had that one moment at the very end of Candyman. Like I was just like, man, I wanted to see more of him.
Yeah, but it was badass when he did show up.
Yeah, no, and he has the line that just says "Tell everyone." He's got the bees all over his face.
He was floating too, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fucking great. But yeah, guys. So I mean, that's Final Destination. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you. I saw you did a video on this. I posted about this on Twitter the other day, and then I didn't get on for like 2 days. I got on this morning and saw that it kind of like blew up a little bit. I had like 50 replies on my thing about the Jason universe.
Yeah, I did a video and it went pretty wild too.
Yeah, look, I just want to say I think that this is stupid. I'm just going to say it. I think it's stupid. I think it's a waste of everybody's time because I think Horror Inc. knows damn well that they can't move forward with anything titled Friday the 13th or Adult Jason Voorhees or the Hockey Mask or anything, given the current situation. So announcing this quote unquote universe and then having these announcements of like, here's a new logo. Isn't that crazy? Here's a new concept art for Jason. Isn't that crazy? I think it's a waste of everybody's time. And if anything, if I'm being cynical, I think it's also kind of a ploy to get money from people. Like buy this new merchandise, buy this, buy that. And you'll have people that'll go like some dude replied and was like, only jobless losers like you care. Get a job or something like that. I didn't even reply to the guy because I'm like, bro, I work more than I'm at home. But I was also like, I'm not even a diehard Friday the 13th fan. Like, I'm saying this on behalf of people that have more love for this series than I do. I can't imagine somebody, and that's why I'm asking you, because I know you're a big Friday fan. Dude, I got to imagine you probably think this stuff is fucking stupid, don't you?
I do think it's stupid. There are comments on here that really sum up how I feel. Let me go to my video and look. It's like some of these are like more bullshit talk from people behind this because I actually read the article in the video and like they had Horror Inc. people comment on it and basically say we're listening to new voices and veteran voices from the series to do this the way fans would love, blah blah blah. And one like more bullshit talk from people behind the scenes. I'll believe it when I see it. There's basically 90% of the audience is just like, how do you make this look so stupid? My hope though is that what we're seeing is a piss poor AI'd or like blueprint image of what kind of Jason they want to do, and it's actually not that, because it's literally just, first of all, last I checked, Jason's a mongoloid. He's deformed. He's got broad over hunchback shoulders. He's got a big bulging head. This literally looks like a guy that's in great shape with a mask on, number one. But people all think this just looks like bootleg Jason. It looks bad. And they feel honestly, I think a lot of people just feel disrespected. Which is sad because it's like it's one thing to be let down, but I really think like a lot of Friday the 13th fans genuinely feel disrespected by how shitty this whole thing looks. And it's like the Jason universe, they have a website but it's literally nothing. It's just the gigantic logo. There's nothing to do on it. There's nothing on the website. It literally just shows the Jason universe and that's it with social media links. Like, what is it? What is the Jason universe? What is it? What does this mean? What are you offering us? What are you supporting us with? Nothing. All this time, and you give us a 3D printed image of Jason that Greg Nicotero helped on? No, he didn't. He didn't do shit.
No.
It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. So, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, this is bullshit. But at the same time, what do you expect from these fucking people?
Exactly. I mean, it's been almost 2 decades. I did a video on it today that I'll probably drop in like a day or two. And it was the same thing where I was like, what do you expect from this series at this point, though? It's like, sadly, as long as Miller and Cunningham are both still alive, I just don't see the two ever coming to terms with anything. I just don't. It's not something that I think is realistic at all. I've said this before on the show that I side more with Cunningham because Cunningham has had more involvement with the series over the decades. I think he genuinely wants to bring Jason back. I think he loves Jason. I think Victor is more so of, I'm not saying that Victor doesn't love the character, but I think Victor feels ownership over it, and doesn't want to give that to anybody else. So I just think that this is a waste of everybody's time because, some of the replies I got, I don't know if you got any comments on your video that said something to the effect of, well, they said they're going to use this for future movies.
Right.
What fucking movies? Like what movies? They can't, guys, legally speaking right now, they cannot make a movie called Friday the 13th. That's just a fact. They literally cannot.
I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, it's over. Lawsuit's over.
Lawsuit is over in the sense of they settled who owns what. That's
right.
So who owns what? Victor owns adult Jason Voorhees and the name Friday the 13th. He owns that.
Right.
So if
and everything else is like Paramount, all they have control over is releasing their 8 movies on home video. Like if a movie came out, it's not going to be an issue like the remake in 2009. It's going to be a Warner movie.
Yep.
But
you have to think, given that if Victor Miller is not willing to play ball, that means you cannot call it Friday the 13th and you cannot have adult Jason Voorhees in the way that he was portrayed by Victor Miller.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
Yes.
You can't do anything. So, I mean, my point is like, yeah, it's over, but what's going to happen and when? I mean, I still have a feeling that this TV show is going to crumble because that was 2022.
Yep.
When we first heard about it, right? Like winter of 2022, dude, it's middle of 2025 and they finally casted somebody. I just don't buy any of it. I still think it's a shit show and, we won't see anything on a big screen, no movie or nothing for a long time. I just don't get it. I mean, I didn't even realize at the time that Paramount were in pre-production on a TV show because Warner owed them a favor, and that's why Paramount was going to do that TV show, and then that fell to the wayside, and then all the rights, everything, Paramount had no control over nothing anymore besides just putting their 8 movies out on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K. And I saw the pictures. They're online. You could see them. Like the design of Jason. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude. It's like, why does this happen? It's like, the name lives up to its legacy. It's unlucky. So my hope is that what we're seeing is just bullshit. It's a computer generated image. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look like it's an actual human being that they dressed up and did that to, but we'll see. I mean, it's pathetic. Like that they made this a big announcement for the internet to see. It's pathetic. Like, really, you think this is going to satisfy fans?
Not just that.
How do you like the eye hole? There's 12 movies. Like the eye holes are circles. Like if you want to do the 13 holes in the mask, I think I even said whatever, have fun. Like, it's cheeky as fuck and kind of like gimmicky, but whatever, knock yourselves out. But how do you make the eyes squares? Like, what hockey mask has square eye holes? Like, what? What are you guys doing? So, whatever. It is what it is. And some people, it's a smaller minority, but some people think that the fans are overreacting and they're getting blah, blah, blah. But my thing is, it's like, I don't think we are overreacting. I think, take whatever you love very much that has an extremely long legacy and history and like stuff that's been maintained, and all of a sudden you get this great value stuff that comes out that's clearly by people that, I mean, people decided to put this out. The people in charge, they decided this was good to put out. That's not good. Like, they need somebody over there that is a fan. Clearly nobody is.
And furthermore, I'm going to
I
say
doubt
this.
Victor's even seen the movies. I really doubt Victor
No.
has even seen the sequels.
No.
And I don't really think he's like, he wants to make money. Like, I don't even really blame him. This is a guy in his 80s now. I don't really even blame him. I blame the Horror Inc. people, because they're the ones that are running the ship. So
yeah, I mean, they're calling the shots, not him. I mean, that's very obvious. But yeah, I'm sure he wants to make money. Like, I don't. If I created a super popular IP, why would I want to let anybody else have that? Like, I don't necessarily blame him either. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad, because I thought I was being cynical with it. Like, I thought, like, my viewpoint on this was cynical. Like, oh no, like, give him a chance. Like, give him some time. But honestly, Christian, I think of all the franchises, this one doesn't deserve any leeway. These people don't deserve any time or any leeway, because they've dicked everybody around for almost 20 years. Like, no, I'm not going to give them time. I'm not going to give them I'm not cutting them slack. Like, no. There's no excuse. They had a really popular video game that they let die because of this legal bullshit. Like,
have you heard, dude? People are pissed at Gun Media. They forgave them on Friday the 13th because they said legally everything is locked up. We have because they don't know who gets paid what. We can't do anything. But then they made the Texas Chainsaw game, which came out last year, and all of a sudden they said the other day, we're not updating anything else. We're not adding anything else. Now the people are fucking pissed. So Gun Media is in the shit can right now. People are done with them. They're so pissed that because like a lot of these games, it's like they continually add stuff and improve stuff and add levels and make your customers feel valued for the money they spent on your game. And within a year, I think it's either been right at a year or right under it. I have to go look, but they've already abandoned Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So Gun Media is not anybody's favorite company right now. But there's also, Manfredini got in trouble for this, from what I understand, but Manfredini just scored a new Friday the 13th game. So apparently there is a new Friday the 13th game that's coming out. What the gameplay will be like, I don't know. I don't know how you really improve over the 2017 when it was so fun. But that's probably going to be a Jason universe thing. So if I think we see anything, we'll see a Jason that's akin to that look in the video game, which it looks like a video game character, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like a real character that's going to be like in a movie. So I would not be surprised if what we're seeing is actually the Jason that's going to be in a video game, which I should have said in my video, but I didn't say that because I didn't think about it till just now.
But couldn't they not call him Jason Voorhees?
What do you mean?
Doesn't Victor Miller own that?
Yeah, he's part of Horror. Like him and Horror Inc. They're all in bed together.
You're right.
They're all in bed together.
Okay, yes. So okay, but if that's the iteration of Jason you're going to use, like if that would be the iteration of Jason for future movies, is that what you would want? I know the answer for you is no.
Well, I pray to God, like I said, that this is just a stupid blueprint of just like a look that let's excite fans. Let's show them. I really think, now that I think about it, that's probably going to be a video game looking Jason, because it looks like a video game, the image. So
yeah.
It's not good enough regardless, especially when the 2017 game literally gave us movie designs specific to the movies. Like, you can't get any better than that. You can't. Like, how do you beat that? Well, you may not be able to beat it, but you don't just say, oh, well, fuck it. Let's put in zero effort. Let's take a Sears costume and put it on a dude. Like, Jason's a mongoloid. The guy's in perfect shape.
I don't know how they got away with that game in the first place. I don't know how that flew under the radar to where it didn't cause issues with Sean and Victor, like
Well,
until years later.
at the time, Victor wasn't an issue. You know, that's why around that certain mark, 20 whatever it was, 2019, that's when all the legal shit started hitting the fan, and Gunn was like, "Oh, we're at a crossroads here. We can't do anything." Before that, you know, Victor didn't own a goddamn thing. That's why that whole lawsuit came into effect, is because, you know, Victor got paid to write a script, but Sean owned all that, along with the parent companies that put the movies out. But now, with that lawsuit, now Victor owns all that shit because that's all his IP legally. So it's a massive tug of war. So I don't know, like, I understand this. I understand the wheels don't exactly move fast with movies and games and shit, but like the next couple of years will be interesting. We'll see if these guys really know what the fuck they're doing, or if they're even motivated at all. I mean, how
I'll
do you
make
not
a
be motivated with Friday the 13th? Like it's a
yeah.
money maker. It's
Yep.
like one of the biggest money makers in horror. Like,
Yeah.
nothing
I
to
mean,
me is more fun than collecting Friday the 13th. Like, seriously, I love Elm Street so much, but collecting Friday stuff is so fun. It's addicting.
A new Friday the 13th movie would make $200 million. Guaranteed. Guaranteed it would. I'll just say, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, you're going to see Freddy back before Jason. I genuinely don't see an end on the horizon for Friday the 13th. And even if Crystal Lake happens, you're not getting adult Jason in it. So, you know,
But
whatever.
they can. They can have adult Jason in it.
But there's certain things that they can't look-wise, correct?
No. So Larry Zerner talked about this, and I know it's confusing, but Larry Zerner talked about this, and just so you know, like, Larry Zerner was Shelley from Part 3, and
Yeah.
he became a entertainment lawyer, and he talked about this. Anything that is any form of derivative from Victor's script is his. So whether it's an adult look, whether it's a hockey mask, all that is derivative from the character that was invented in what? Victor's script. Victor's got it all. He's got it all. I don't know what Sean has at this point. So, and then the Horror Inc. people have said that adult Jason's going to be in this show, which is more confusing because it looks like it's going to be a prequel show about Pamela. So my theory is it's going to be a prequel with a flash forward type of show, or something that's going to prolong the first movie somehow. But no, that Horror Inc. can do whatever they want, which is why they've got this Jason Universe thing. They've got it all, Nick. It's over. This lawsuit is done.
But
Like,
here's
they got it all.
Legally speaking, I think personally the roadblock is you can technically, on paper, it sounds like you can do that. But any legal fight could arise because Victor or Horror Inc., whoever, could move forward with something, and Sean could block it and sue and say this is not derivative of his script. And then they would have to go to court, and a judge would have to decide whether it is derivative of his IP or not.
I'm sure that's already happened.
Which is why I think we're not getting movies, and why I think they're not really giving us a Friday the 13th title or a Jason that looks like the Jason you know, because I think it would spark a legal fight. I think that is the issue, because Victor and Horror Inc. can say that all they want, but as soon as they put the wheels in motion, who do you think's going to sue? It's going to be Sean immediately. Yeah. And he's going to go to court and say they can't do this.
Well, what I'm getting at is I think that's all of that's been done already, which is why they just released a picture, albeit a shitty looking Jason, but they did. I think all that has been done.
But then to me, I go, if
that was a long legal battle. That was a very long legal battle.
It was, but to me, then I go, if that is the case, and Victor actually has the rights to do all of this, whatever he wants, why the fuck? It just doesn't line up for me.
Why hasn't there been an actual movie or anything yet? Yeah, because it looks like they're doing a stupid TV show where they hired a fucking guy to write it, then they ended up firing him because somebody didn't like it. So now they're rewriting the whole goddamn show. Now they're finally casting abroad. And
why does this design for Jason look like shit? And why won't they
I'm convinced it's a video game. I am now. I'm convinced that's a video game, Jason, because the video game's already being made. I mean, Manfredini got in trouble. He said, "Oh shit, I should have said that." Like he scored a new game. He said he did. So I think it's a video game. Like it's got to be. That's a video game.
So, guys, bottom line here is even with a situation that seems like clarity has been reached, there's still not fucking clarity because Friday the 13th, as Christian said, just like its name, is cursed. It's unlucky. Right. And who the fuck knows? I just know that as soon as an announcement is made with a production house for a Friday the 13th movie, I can guarantee you a legal battle will ensue from that point. I guarantee you. And how that ends up, who knows? I guess we'll all find out. Maybe that's why they haven't done it yet, because they know shit's going to hit the fan. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. And I don't think it gets any better when one of them dies. I don't think it gets better when Victor dies. I really don't, because when Victor dies,
it just goes to the family. It
exactly.
Goes to the rightful owners. And
what do you think the family's going to do? You know what? We decided we want to work with Sean. No, fuck no. Like, yeah, it's just.
I'm not anti-Victor, but like I have a love for Sean because, you know,
he gives a shit about the franchise as a whole and didn't abandon it. Like, yeah, I agree. He
kind of abandoned it, but after the first one, he was like, I'm not directing the sequel. We'll get somebody else to do it.
Fair.
Yeah. And then like I'm sure he's never seen Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm sure he hasn't, but he did come back and he wanted to make Freddy versus Jason. And so like he gave it hell. And like I read that book. It's called Slash of the Titans. I would credit the author, but they're slipping my. It's a book on Amazon. I implore people to read it. I was doing videos about it, but they weren't doing good enough, and it was way too much work. The Halloween ones did good, but anyway, like in that book, Nick, I mean, they go through the years of Sean fighting to get a Freddy versus Jason made. I mean, years.
Oh, I know he did.
So. And he can never agree with New Line. When he liked something, New Line hated it. When New Line liked something, Sean really hated it. And when you read it, you kind of side with Sean. Sean was always had the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. But a lot of these scripts, they were trying to involve the millennium and drugs. Like people thought they were Freddy. People thought that there was literally scripts where somebody assumed the role of Jason. Like he just wanted to be Jason, so that's why it was called Freddy vs. Jason. It was just a guy, like Roy, if you will. Like literally, they paid for these scripts. They went into pre-production on some of them, and Sean would be like, "What are we doing?" Like so, yeah. I always credit Sean because he for literally 10 years he fought to make Freddy vs. Jason happen. So I'm always gonna have love for Sean, and he's an icon. I don't think he gets enough love as a director, but that's a whole different conversation.
I think it's safe to say that Freddy vs. Jason doesn't get made without Sean S. Cunningham. I think that is very fair to say. At least not the way we got it. At least not with Robert Englund. Because maybe it would have eventually happened 20 years later, but I don't think it would have happened when it did. And dude, they were laying the breadcrumbs for that for 10 fucking years. The end of fucking Jason Goes to Hell. Like, this was something that they were working on for years. And I think that, like you said, Sean was at the forefront of that. He listened to a lot of shitty pitches for that movie, guys. Like he did his due diligence. Like it. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, when you learn that nobody making Jason Goes to Hell, especially New Line or Bob Shea, were like, well, we got to set up the movie. Like Adam was the one who was like, well, let's make Freddy grab him down to hell. Then they all loved it, you know. But yeah, if you read some of these scripts that they were doing, man, it's embarrassing how bad they were. Like if there was an obsession with the millennium, which I know that was real at the time, but half of these scripts, everything was about the millennium, and it was just so stupid, you know.
Yeah, I think we lucked out. Yeah, I think for all the flaws that Freddy versus Jason has, and it does. It is exactly what it needed to be. It's fun. And I think we got the best version of that movie that we really could have. We could have gotten a better director and a better Jason. And that's not to shame Ronnie Yu. Okay, Bride of Chucky fucking rules. But he wasn't the guy to direct that. Like he just
it's so funny. I'm on the outskirts with so many people. So many people give him shit. I don't. He didn't even like, especially when it comes to not casting Jason. I don't think he gave a rat's ass. Clearly, people at New Line didn't want to deal with him because Kane was outspoken and he would have been a pain in the ass, rightfully so. But I think the real reason we didn't get Freddy versus Jason as long as we did is because of Freddy's Dead. And
Yeah.
it's not what people are thinking. Because what happened was, and I learned this, it never clicked until I read the book. New Line bought Jace the rights to the character of Jason to do movies with him going forward, and they were wrapping up Elm Street, and so they said, "Okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to put out Freddy versus Jason." And there were already scripts in the wing to do it, but Freddy said was so successful, they pumped the brakes, and they were like, "Fuck, we just bought the rights to this character. We just made a killing. Let's make some Jason movies before this." Hence, Jason Goes to Hell. If Freddy's Dead had tanked, I think that they probably would have gone forward Freddy versus Jason a lot quicker. And then when Jason Goes to Hell did good, they said, well, let's do Freddy again to keep him in people's minds. And then that's after that, the late 90s is where all the shit was just constantly hitting the fan. But if Freddy's Dead had tanked, I think they would have gone ahead with Freddy versus Jason way sooner.
Didn't Rachel Talalay say something in Never Sleep Again to that effect, where it was like they knew they needed to wrap up the character, at least they thought at the time, following 5. So they were, and I know they did a whole press tour for it. Like there was like a funeral
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then I believe Talalay said something to the effect of like, well, then the movie did well. And it was like, oh shit, maybe Freddy isn't dead. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's really what it was. But the success of that, it's funny. It's just like, it's right there for us to see it. But I think as fans, like, we're pretty blissfully ignorant about that stuff. But it's like, well, yeah, you goddamn right. Freddy just made a shit ton of money. We just got Jason. Clearly, people probably do want to see these characters still. But we were just, we just cranked them out. We have to wait a couple years. Like, time is distance makes the heart grow fonder. So.
yep.
But I wonder if Freddy's Dead hadn't done well. I really think that movie would have came out in the 90s. I really do. I think they would have been like, fuck, we just ate shit on this movie. We gotta capitalize. So, but that's history for you. What can you do?
Yep, and that was the direction that both franchises were going to take, and I guess it was for the best because we ended up getting New Nightmare, which is a movie I really like, and I think the only movie that Heather Langenkamp actually acts well in. And we got Jason X out of it. We got Freddy versus Jason, so I'm happy with where it ended up. Not where it is now for either franchise, but where it was 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm cool with that. So, but look, I was like, let's make sure we break the 2-hour mark, and we did, because we like to give you guys 2-hour-long episodes. Not the live one, but the one before that was like 2.5. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much covering everything that is worth talking about right now over the last week or so. Obviously, we've never covered the Final Destination series. We gave you guys our thoughts on all the movies. We told you which one was our favorite and why. We gave you kind of our mini spoiler review of Bloodlines. We covered the Jason universe, and then we kind of talked about the first half hour was sentimental bullshit. So I don't know. I think we hit all the bases here.
I think so too. I don't know if there's any other movies that come out by the time we record for June, which is so wild to say, but
yeah,
I need to get around to seeing Sinners. I need to get around to seeing what's that movie that's kind of like the video game, Until Dawn. I got to see that, which I'm excited to see Until Dawn, but I'll probably wait till it comes out on streaming or whatever.
I would actually imagine it's probably not playing in many theaters at this point.
My theater doesn't have a whole lot of movies, but when they do get some, they kind of keep them going for a while. So maybe mine will have it.
Well,
so
I hope it does. If you end up wanting to check it out, I'll check it out when it comes out on streaming. Also, Max is going back to HBO Max, which I think is
thank
fucking
God. So how much better somebody commented this. I did like a Simpsons meme, and somebody said HBO literally stands for home box office. How much more straight of a name do you need? And it's like,
it's fucking stupid. They're dumb. But to their credit, I saw their social media team was making fun of themselves for it. They were posting memes about it. So I was like, at least you're self-aware that it was just a stupid rebranding. That was totally unnecessary. So I guess I give them credit there. But yeah, look, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for 4 years of watching and listening. hopefully there's 4 more. You know, I got no plans of going anywhere, and the show is it's 2 hours that goes by and doesn't even feel like 2 hours for me. It feels like it when I stand up because like my ass hurts and my back hurts, but like when I'm in it, it's great. So yeah, thank you guys for all the support. Make sure to leave a like on here, comment down below about Final Destination, the Jason universe, whatever the fuck you guys want to talk about. Just, you know, head to the comment section and we'll do that. You got anything before we head out?
I thank everybody for watching.
Christian stays consistent.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We'll catch you on the flippity flip. See ya.